Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every Wednesday morning we go through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video, and one person's question will help me make the thumbnail every single week. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video. And if I did comment to you, great question, I might use this and I didn't, please drop that same question again and put repeat question and it will get moved to the top. And if it was super long, maybe shorten it up a little bit. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. And we do have to give thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is PokeNotify. If you guys are sick and tired of missing out on all these drops and pre-orders, PokeNotify is the perfect Discord channel for you, especially if you did already sign up to all the online notifications and all the free Discords and you just have not been able to get anything. The amount of messages that I get of people getting stuff from PokeNotify is pretty crazy. And then two, they have a 3-day free trial, so you can just go check it out. And then if you use the code PokeBeard25 at checkout, you receive 25% off your first month. Definitely check them out. All the links are in the description. All right, first question is from Mark QC4TJ. Question, should I invest in an Evolving Skies ETB as I can't afford the booster box, or go for a Silver Tempest booster box? Thinking long term, thanks. So, an Evolving Skies ETB would do very good. If you guys did not know, pretty much every Sword and Shield booster box went crazy recently. I mean, look at Evolving Skies, was at $1,200-$1,300. Now last sold, tons of loose packs, $2,000, $1,850. Someone got 4 of them at $1,500. Another one at $1,800. We got one with a picture at $1,550. So the ETB should follow next, which the Evolving Skies ETB has, you know, a couple nice sales, but still last sold $285, $260, $283, $260, $270. I could see this ETB being a $350 ETB very soon. But then Silver Tempest also went up, but it didn't go up that much. Went from like $260 to $364, $350, $350, $350, $355, $355. So went up almost $100. When you look at Fusion Strike, this box went from $478 to $875, $800, $800, $810, $742. So I do think the Silver Tempest booster box is still a very good buy. And the Evolving Skies ETB, pretty much all Sword and Shield ETBs I feel like are a very solid buy right now. Because when those booster boxes go crazy like that, the ETBs tend to follow. So this might be one of our last times being able to get these ETBs for a decent price. Especially if you are thinking long term. I know some of these prices seem pretty crazy, but 10 years down the road, you're not really going to care that you overpaid $100 or $200 on a booster box when it's worth, maybe $1,000 or more. But all right, next question is from @TurtNuts. Hey Beard, I've been looking at getting some Sun and Moon promos for my collection and wanted to know what you think are some good buys right now. Been looking at the Pikachu Team Up promo SM162 since I love the art, but don't know if I should get it. Love the vids. Well, if you like the art, might as well pick it up. I don't think it's too expensive. It says raw $36. I'm sure it gets kind of expensive if you want it super clean. I honestly think it's even better than the Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield era for promos. I mean, they're crazy. Some of the tag team promos have gone wild. The Mewtwo and Mew, raw, $175 now. Reshiram and Charizard, $138. I was buying these Reshiram and Charizard GXs at about $30 all day long. Armored Mewtwo, $120. We got Umbreon and Darkrai, $116. Pikachu and Zekrom, $95. The Eevee and Snorlax, $90. The Garchomp and Giratina, $80. Espeon and Deoxys, $72. We got like that derpy Eevee GX at $67. The Moltres and Zapdos and Articuno Stained Glass promo is pretty sweet at $52. I really feel like the Celebi and Venusaur GX tag team promo is pretty undervalued. I mean, I honestly feel like that's one of the best looking tag team cards. It's only $45. Lucario and Melmetal, $39. And then I also think these two gold promos right here, the Reshiram and Charizard GX, the gold tag team, and the Pikachu and Zekrom, they're literally $15 to $20 raw. I think those are very, very solid buys. I'm also a pretty big fan of all these little Ash's Pikachus here. I could see these kind of going wild. Kind of cool, unique. My wife loves them. So there is still a ton of good buys. And then, yeah, the Pikachu SM162, where he's looking at Mimikyu, that is a pretty unique card for sure. Next is from @Seb2142. What are your thoughts on Amazing Rares from Vivid Voltage and Shiny Fates? I'm a big fan. I think they're super, super nice looking, but they're really easy to pull. Vivid Voltage is not the most popular set. The Rayquaza has 9,551 in a 10 and 5,274 in a 9. But it is going up in price a little bit right now. Last sold $50 in a 10, 40 in a 10, 51 in a 10. My thought is, if you enjoy the cards and they're that cheap, it's not that big of an investment to get all of them, you might as well do it. You know, I have like 10 or maybe 15 sets of these amazing rares just because I love them so much, and they were dirt cheap. And they still are. Just the PSA 10 has gone up a little bit. I mean, Rayquaza raw is still $5, so very, very cheap. Next is from Landon Foley B9M. I have 3 Shrouded Fable Greninjas and 3 Shrouded Fable Kingdra boxes. The promos look really good with centering and everything. Would it be worth opening the boxes and grading the cards, or should I keep them sealed? Thank you for all you do. You definitely have the best channel. Thank you. So we will check that out. Greninja box going for $75. Last sold 78, 75, 60. A bunch at 78. Kingdra box a little bit cheaper. Last sold 65, 50, 63, 63. Now we got the Kingdra EX here. Last sold in a PSA 10, $144 with a pop of 1,587 in a 10. And it says there's only 61 in a 9, so very easy to grade. But $144, you know, you got grading fees and all that. You know, you're not really making that much money. Let's check the Greninja. Last sold 156. So, you know, not even that much more than the Kingdra, with a pop of 5,697 in a 10. And this one has a pop of 5,156 in a 9. That seems crazy. This PSA 9 pop on this Kingdra, I feel like that's not correct or not updated, because 61 is just super, super low. So, I mean, best bet, you're getting $150 for your PSA 10, and then, you know, grading fees and all that, you're at like $120. So you're really not making too much, to be honest. And you could also pull something from the packs too if you do decide to open up those packs, even though Shroud of Fable doesn't have the most expensive cards, but you could hit something, and that could also be super clean where you could hit a 10. So, you know, if you do get super lucky, you could definitely come out decent, but it's totally up to you, you know, if you're a gambling man or not. But all right, next question is from CoolWit9645. Hey Beard, I'm collecting 151 sealed and have everything but the UPC in the binder. Should I try to buy now? I also don't have the Pokemon Center ETB, just the regular one. And I just recently hit for the Destined Rivals ETB on Pokemon Center twice. Should I try trading? Yeah, you could definitely try trading one of your Destined Rivals for 151. That's definitely a good idea, but let's check out 151 products right now. So the UPC, still very expensive. I still remember when this thing was like $70 on like the TikTok shop and all that. It's just crazy. Last sold now $332, $340. One sale at $200, but another one at $332, $340, $350. So it looks like it is coming down in price a little bit. I'd probably, you know, just because it is so expensive, I'd keep watching it and hopefully it goes down more. But when you watch it, you got to watch it like every day, because within a day or two, these could definitely get spiked up. But I could maybe see this box getting to $300. But I honestly think it's like 50-50 to where this box could get to $400. Like, it's that crazy, especially with sealed right now. And then the binder collection, which was at, you know, $150, got down to $125. Now it says it's coming up a little bit, but last sold $125, $127, $140, $135, $140, $125. You know, I could maybe see this binder getting to $100, but then again, I could also see it getting back up to like $150, $160. So now might be the time to buy the binder collection, to be honest. You know, it did come down to $125 and it's coming up a little bit right now. But you could also find this in store, so do not give up on that too. You know, try to find out when these stores get restocked, and, you know, talk to local game stores and stuff like that. And then definitely sign up to like all the Instagrams, all the free Discords, everything that you can possibly do. All right, next question is from Kirkham. Hello again. I have a Mega Lucario EX 55A that's jumped to 600. I got it for $100 less than a year ago. He's my favorite Pokemon, but I'm torn. Should I hold, sell while it's high, or wait in case it rises more? I could use the money, don't need it, but I wonder if I can reinvest the 600. But the low population makes me hesitant. Any advice? So I would definitely wait until we get some like legit mega reveals, to where people are actually super excited about the mega cards. Because right now, you know, half the people are excited about the mega cards. So definitely wait a little bit longer. I could see this card being $1,000. All right, next question is from Matt. Pokemon. Is the Charizard EX Super Premium Collection being slept on? Selling for $50 right now. Everyone was laughing at the Charizard UPC when it was super low. Seems like this box will follow the same path. Well, I don't think it's quite as good as the Charizard UPC, but Charizard stuff always does good. So yeah, if you can get this for a good deal around $50, it would definitely be a solid pickup. But all right, next question is from Mushroom Craft. What are your top 5 modern cards to invest in at PSA 10? You are the GOAT, Mr. Beard. Keep it up. Thank you. So Zaptose EX from 151. Love this card. So undervalued. Coming down in price a little bit right now, so don't just go out and buy it. Watch it for a little bit. You know, it might get down to $200, maybe a little less. Then we got the Venusaur EX. Basically any special illustration rare from 151. Except the Charizard is coming down in price right now, so I'd hold off on that. But these cards are so undervalued. Now, they do have pretty high pops, like the Venusaur is at 8,526, Zapdos is at 6,800. But still, you know, there's definitely 8,000 people that want this card. Next, we have the Ninetails illustration rare from Obsidian Flames with a pop of 2183 in a 10 and 4,656 in a 9. Got up to 337 coming down right now. Last sold 160. Another one at 165. You know, probably level out right around 150, 140. This is a very solid pickup. And in my opinion, this is one of the top 5 best illustration rares in the entire era. All right, next, we have the Tyranitar. This has a very low pop, only 858 in a 10 and 2,386 in a 9. And it's still going up in price. You know, the PSA 10 is getting pretty expensive. Last sold 380. We got one at 415. Another one at 388. So if you can find this thing for around $380 or $370, I would definitely pick that up. And the last one would be the Raichu from Paldea Evolved. Also pretty low pop, only 856 in a 10 and 2,211 in a 9. Got up to $398 and coming down right now. Last sold 305, 325, 355. I could see this one coming down in price a little bit more. Maybe like 275, 250. But, you know, we got to wait and see. But all right, next question is from @Kirkham. What's your favorite song of all time? If that's too hard, favorite band / artist? So I like actually a ton of different type of music. You know, I grew up on all the oldies because of my parents and stuff. So I like the 70s and 80s, like rock. And then I had an older brother who was super obsessed with rap. So I love a ton of rap. But I've seen a ton of rappers live like Eminem, Tech9, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, all that. But I swear, once you hit 30, you do not care about music nearly as much. I was obsessed with music like my entire life. But yeah, honestly, I'd rather listen to like a comedy podcast like Bad Friends or Are You Garbage, or like a Pokemon video or something like that. So that's what I would rather listen to now instead of music. But back then, I was obsessed with music. But all right, next question is from @CZR48. Quick question. For card shows, are you pricing items the day of? And also, are you pricing at market or at a certain price to meet a margin of profit you have? Thanks. So I priced the day before. And when I price out a card, I like to look at what you can get it shipped for right now for the absolute cheapest. And then I like to look at the recently sold and then try to, you know, match one of the cheapest sales and cheaper than what you can get it shipped for right now online. Because then you're also going to have to pay tax and stuff on that too. So let's say if you can get a card shipped for $25 with free shipping, you know, and the cheapest recently sold is $22, I'm probably going to do it right at $22. If it's got a crazy recently sold that's like 15, I'm not going to match that. Then I'd probably match the one that like makes the most sense. But I always try to have it a little bit cheaper than like what you can get it shipped for sure. And then if it's a card that you paid a decent amount for, then I would maybe price it a little bit higher, especially if we're talking like a little bit older cards and it's, you know, in really good condition. That I'm a little bit more picky on the price. But all right, next question is from @Sasha Woman. Hey Beard, I'm 31 and I started collecting again a year ago after I found my childhood vintage. I started off by opening anything I could find that looked cool, and then I started master sets, and then I started to buy random singles. How should I start collecting? Where to start? What should be a goal? I was also able to get 1 regular and 1 PC ETB and 2 booster boxes for Destined Rivals, and both PC ETBs for black and white. I don't like to collect sealed, but should I start with these or open since product will be hard to find? So what you need to do is type in Pokemon card sets, go to Pokemon Collector, look at all the sets throughout the years, like literally sit down for an hour or two and just look at everything. You know, even make a list of your favorite Pokemon and really figure out what you want to collect card-wise. Doing this will save you so much money because you can actually narrow down exactly what you want to collect and then just make a big old list and then start collecting that way. And honestly, you've got some very, very good products. So like the PC ETBs and stuff, I know you say you don't really like to collect sealed, but it's worth it to just hold on to that, or you can even trade it for some really good cards. You know, opening it is fun, but a lot of times you're not going to get nearly, you know, what it's worth, and you could honestly get nothing, especially in some of those ETBs. You at least get the Pokemon Center stamp promos, but in my opinion, I would rather trade a Pokemon Center ETB that's worth a few $100s towards a couple cards that I needed than try to rip it. Right, next is from Dr. Shouba, Shouba1771. Will Mega EX cards drop in value on release of Legends EA? I don't think they'll really drop. It really depends on how much like we're going to get Megas for. If we get them for a while, you know, these cards could just keep going up and up. Next is from Team B92. All hail King PokeBeard. Thank you. What do you think about the sun fading card trend? So this was a trend like 15 years ago. I remember somebody sun faded a base set Charizard. It's kind of cool, but a lot of times they do not come out looking like as perfect as like that video that's going around everywhere it makes it look like. I like my cards nice and original, but if it is a cheap card and you want to try it out, definitely do it up. But all right, next is from @3J Spangle. Hey Beard, I'm really into sealed promos and I recently discovered the European exclusive promos. Do you know anything about the European sealed promos or sealed promos in general? Thank you for your time. So I don't really know a ton about them specifically, but as long as you are collecting beautiful artwork that is exclusive, you know, you can never go wrong with going for like the actual foreign cards like that. Like Japanese exclusive promos always do really good. The Chinese promos are super expensive right now. But promos usually tend to do good because the sealed products, they come in and go up in price. So the promo usually follows. All right, next is from the Mr. 72K. Hey, your thoughts on tag team for long-term investment? Have considered picking up some and holding them considering how unique they are compared to other cards. So if you can find them super, super clean, I definitely recommend picking them up, even at some of these prices, because most of them are super expensive. You know, some of the promos are still cheap. And there's a couple of them, like the Alolan Executor and stuff, that aren't that expensive. But yeah, if you find them clean, I think they're definitely solid pickups. Especially with all the Sun and Moon boxes being so expensive right now. They're almost all like $1,500 to $2,000. But all right, next question is from Nathan Hughes 8874. I have about 9K value in raw cards. I'm wanting to downsize and put the money into some Sword and Shield, Scarlet, and Violet Era booster boxes. I know the raw cards have lost some value recently, but I feel now may be the last time to get Brilliant Stars, Paldea Evolved booster boxes, thoughts. So Sword and Shield, like I said, you know, probably one of the last times that we'll be able to get these this cheap. You know, the Scarlet and Violet Era, you never know. We could still get reprints of some of this stuff. And, you know, it could definitely come down in price. All right, next question is from Johnny Wayne Scott 5895. What is the best way to keep a card safe that isn't graded? So definitely get some good sleeves. And then you can just put them in top loaders. And honestly, they're fine. And then from there, you can get some like nice storage. Like BCW makes a ton of storage for like top loaded cards. So you can get something like that. You can get, you know, some Zion cases. There's so many options. You can even get top loader binders like the Card Prison binder, which actually has top loaded sleeves in there and regular card sleeves. So you could have both in one binder. That's a pretty cool binder, you know, stuff like that. But all right, next question is from Rideout21R97. Hey Beard, thanks for sharing your story. It's great to hear and very relatable. You are the best, man. My question is, how much cash would you bring to vend a smaller show? At the very least, probably $200 in like small bills, 1s, 5s, and 10s, so you have change. But I like to bring at least $500 cash to a show. So that way, you know, you got enough for change and you got a couple $100s to buy, you know, a collection or two or a card or something. But now for each show, I've been bringing more and more money because I've been buying more and more collections. So, you know, now I'm bringing, you know, a couple $1,000s to each card show to where I got some buying power. But all right, last question is from Turbo Firepacks. What are some good ways to grow a Pokemon YouTube channel from nothing? I'm at about 150 subscribers now. I work full time. I have a family. I love opening packs, but it's tough to be able to keep up with videos with the way the market is thinking about going on Whatnot and trying to sell some of my pulls that I'm not in love with. Love the videos. So you just got to go hardcore. You know, I know you're pretty busy and you got a family and stuff, but if you really think about all the time that are wasted, like, you know, scrolling, watching TV, you could definitely find 30 minutes to, you know, squeak out a video or two. And then you have to study, you know, you have to study all these other channels. You got to figure out exactly what type of content you want to do. You got to learn how to make it unique. You got to come up with a bunch of ideas. So you got to be brainstorming constantly. You got to be looking at other people's thumbnails and titles to get inspiration from so you can, you know, actually make good quality stuff. You got to make sure your logo is perfect. You got to make sure your banner looks really good. You know, you got to post community posts. You got to do shorts. You got to do long form. You got to make your channel look as professional as possible. Even if you only have 150 subscribers, your channel has to look like it has, you know, 150,000 subscribers. You know, that's what I did for an entire year. You know, I posted 10 to 15 shorts every single day for 365 days in a row. And during that time, I was just working on everything. I was constantly trying to upgrade everything, the logos, banners, everything, just so my channel looked as professional as possible. And then also make sure you start an Instagram and a TikTok and do all of it at the exact same time. I wish I would have did that right away, but I did not. And then if you are serious about it too, make sure you get yourself a solid mic or something that sounds decent at least, because sound is very, very important for these YouTube videos. If you have some rough sound, a lot of people will not even watch you. The quality, not the biggest deal, like, you know, the video quality, because most people are watching on their phone anyways. But yeah, just try it out for at least a month. Just go hardcore for 1 month and see what happens. And at the end of that month, I guarantee you will have a little bit of traction to where you might have one video that did good, or you'll have, you know, a little bit more subscribers than you got last month. You will definitely see some progress if you just go all out. And then if you just do it for a year straight, I promise you, you will have something decent. And then for the whatnot thing, I would probably try to stay away from whatnot just because there's so many people in the community that automatically do not like anybody who associates with whatnot just because so many people are getting scammed. You know, there's other ways to sell your cards. But all right, that was today's Pokemon What If Wednesday. If you guys do like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, you can check out my Instagram or my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you want to watch my last Pokemon Market Monday, which was an absolute crazy one for Sword and Shield, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.